In this lesson, we're continuing our discussion of the Erie Doctrine. Specifically, we're going to focus on choice of law rules. Of course, this is part 2 in our discussion of the Erie Doctrine. So if you have not seen our prior lesson, part 1 on the Erie Doctrine, I would pause here, go back, quickly watch part number 1, and then continue with this lesson on part 2. Otherwise, you might be a little bit confused. But we can go ahead and just jump right into part number 2. So if we apply steps 1, 2, and 3 from part 1, our prior lesson on Erie Doctrine, and determine that the federal court should apply state law to some issue, assuming multiple states have a connection to the lawsuit, the next question is going to be, which state's law should the federal court apply? Okay, so if our federal court is adjudicating a state law claim and determines we've got some substantive issues here we have to apply state law to, remember that's part 1, our prior lesson on Erie Doctrine, well, the question's going to be for the federal court, if multiple states have a connection to the lawsuit, which state's law should the federal court apply? Imagine the plaintiff is a citizen of state A, the defendant is a citizen of state B, the actions that gave rise to the lawsuit occurred in state C. So all these states have a connection to the lawsuit. They have some stake in the outcome of the lawsuit. And so the federal court's trying to decide, well, do we apply the state law of state A, the state law of state B, the state law of state C? All of these states have different connections to the lawsuit. How do we decide? We know we're applying state law because we have substantive issues, but which state's law controls? Well, the answer is the federal court uses choice of law rules to make this determination. Remember, the Supreme Court, and this is from part 1, our prior lesson on Erie, remember the Supreme Court has established that choice of law rules are substantive for Erie purposes. Therefore, a federal court sitting in diversity must apply the choice of law rules of the state in which it sits to determine which state's law to apply when multiple states have some connection to the lawsuit. So the best way to see this is just to break down an example. So let's just jump to our example, our hypothetical we have on the board here. And I think choice of law rules will start to become more clear as we just work through examples. Okay, so let's say we have a plaintiff that is a citizen of state A and a defendant that is a citizen of state B. Straightforward enough, we have complete diversity between our parties. Let's say the defendant negligently collides his car into plaintiff's car in state C. And let's say plaintiff sustains injury as a result of the collision. So of course the plaintiff files a state tort law claim, probably a negligence claim, in federal court sitting in state B for $100,000. Okay, so the federal court sitting in state B has diversity jurisdiction to hear this state tort law claim. The parties are diverse. We have complete diversity between the plaintiff and the defendant. Plaintiff is a citizen of state A and defendant is a citizen of state B. Amount in controversy exceeds $75,000. This is a suit seeking $100,000 in damages. So our federal court sitting in the state of B has valid diversity jurisdiction to hear this state tort law claim. Okay, no problems yet. Let's say state B has choice of law rules that stipulate that tort law claims are governed by the law in the state where the actions that gave rise to the lawsuit occurred. Should the federal court apply the substantive law of state A, B, or C to this claim? Okay, well, off the top, if we're trying to decide what procedural law the federal court should apply, should the federal court apply procedural law of state A, B, or C? That's a trick question, right? The federal court applies federal law to procedural issues. That's why our call of the question here asks, should the federal court apply the substantive law of state A, B, or C to the claim? Okay, so if we're thinking about whether the federal court should apply what state's law, basically the federal court should apply to substantive issues in this claim, The answer is going to be, remember, the Supreme Court has established that choice of law rules are substantive for Erie purposes. Thus, a federal court sitting in diversity must apply the choice of law rules of the state in which it sits to determine which state's law to apply when multiple states have some connection to the lawsuit. So look, our federal court is sitting in the state of B. So all we do, we look at the federal court sitting in state B. That means we apply state B's choice of law rules. Because our federal court is sitting in state B, remember, the federal court has to apply the choice of law rules of the state in which it sits. State B's choice of law rules stipulate that tort law claims are governed by the law in the state where the actions that gave rise to the lawsuit occurred. Here, the actions that gave rise to the lawsuit occurred in state C. Remember, the car accident happened in state C. Defendant negligently collides his car into plaintiff's car in the state of C. Okay, this is where the plaintiff sustains his injury. So the actions that give rise to the lawsuit occurred in state C. Okay, so basically our federal court sitting in state B, following the choice of law rules of state B, are going to apply the substantive laws of state C to the claim. Thank you so much for watching this video preview of our Legal Education Accelerator Program, or LEAP for short. If you would like to see the conclusion of this video and gain full access to our entire 1L and 2L video library, integrated outlines, streamable audio versions, additional practice exams with explanations, and much more, we invite you to head over to our website and join the thousands of law students who have already enrolled. To get started with your no-risk free trial today, simply click the link in the description box below or visit www.studicata.com/leap.
Hi everyone, my name is Serena and I'm currently a law student at South Texas College of Law, Houston.
Hi everybody, my name is Shiva and I'm currently a law student at Southwestern.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I am a first year student at South Texas College of Law, Houston. I used the Studicata study video series last semester to help me prepare mostly for contracts, and I actually made an A+ in contracts last semester, which I greatly dedicate to the Studicata videos.
By using Studicata to help me prepare for my final exam, I was able to score the highest grade out of my class on the final and even have my essay distributed as the model answer. Not to mention I had done quite poorly on the midterm and was struggling throughout the whole course of the semester, understanding the material and keeping up with lectures.
Because of the Studicata video lectures, I was able to go into my exams with a feeling of confidence. I didn't have to worry about what the rules of law were or how I was going to organize my answer to an essay question.
I would absolutely recommend the Studicata series and their online course materials to anyone. I think that they are not like professor lectures that you might find online or other outside study materials that you may encounter. I think that the Studicata videos really focus on not only ensuring that you understand the material that you're going to encounter on your final, but they also help you to understand kind of the best method for test taking, and they really break down how to approach each problem and the best ways to tackle certain methods on testing, and I think that's really important, and I think it's really special. I don't see that anywhere else in any of the other online resources that I've found. So I would certainly recommend Studicata to anyone who is studying in law school right now. Good luck on your studying and you're going to do great.
I would definitely recommend Studicata to anybody watching this video. Give it a chance. I'm positive that you will love it, that you will get a lot out of it, and that you will be happy that you gave it a chance. I definitely am. I know I will be using Studicata in the future.
And I cannot thank Studicata enough for getting me through my first semester of law school. I will definitely continue to watch the Studicata video lectures throughout my law school career, and I highly recommend that any future or current law student do the same.